My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. We have followed you to the temple, Jesus, after the incidents of yesterday, your encounter with the accusers of the adulterous woman. It seems you have much teaching in store for me, and for this I have come today, meeting you at the treasure of the temple, or wherever I am now during these 10 precious minutes with you, Jesus. Some of us have believed you, and thus you begin to say, if you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. If, what a big if this is, Jesus. You say if we continue in your word. I can't fail but notice the conditional you place, if. Such a way that you, Jesus, you don't guarantee any one of us a definitive continuing or remaining in your word. Doesn't it reflect somehow the power, freedom of choice I possess? If you continue in my word, you say. And you say 3 things will follow. You are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. These 3 things depend on if I continue your word. It's been 5 weeks exactly since we started this season of Lent. And here I am, Jesus, returning to you, and you lay this condition for me. How can I follow you till the end? How can I continue your word? Jesus, help me. If you continue in my word, you say, because some have started and have fallen away. And I also ask you pardon on your behalf, Jesus. Of these 3 things that you say that depend on continuing in your word, it seems that the one that resonates more with those listening to you, Jesus, is the last one. The truth will make you free. The answer, Jesus, we are descendants of Abraham and have never been in bondage to anyone. How is it that you say you will be made free? Who doesn't value his or her freedom? I ask all of us. Let's even pause and ask your interlocutors, Jesus, is it true that they have never been in bondage to anyone? If these are Jews speaking, therefore the Israelites, what of Joseph in captivity to the Egyptians? Followed by the entire family of the Israelites going into Egypt until the liberation at the Passover. Who still remembers they are going to exile to Babylon for a long time, for decades? Now, what of the current political dispensation, the subjugation of the Romans? Actually, whoever claims not to have been in any bondage must be away from the truth. Permit me to share a personal experience, apparently tragic, yet helps me to value freedom from bondage. I have been in police custody. Father, you? Yes. So how? Actually, for want of time, I'll summarize, but it happened years ago as a university student. I was volunteering in a boys' center to teach some materials and mentor the boys on virtues. A man unseen before came apparently for inquiries about the center, but he seemed unsatisfied with the whole thing. Then, showing his irritation by endless questioning, he eventually took it upon himself to arrest me using his bodyguards. After my resisting his arrest, because I couldn't tell who was who, he dashed out of the house, threatening, only to come back sometime later accompanied by armed policemen in 2 trucks, who gently came, inviting a superior coordinator of the center and me as well to their station for a brief interrogation. So we followed. At the station, we were put behind the counter to answer for ourselves. Meanwhile, we had been accused of kidnapping, so we are told. Time went by past 5 in the evening as we resisted the intimidation by the police and their superior. The matter got worse because I was finally led to the cell to be locked up behind bars with others who were awaiting trial. It was dark, I remember, and also were maltreated by one of the inmates. The disturbing issue was even that I didn't know the identity of the man who had started all this. He refused to answer the previous question I made to him, "Who are you?" It had gone dark, and I was still in police custody, instigated by one unknown man, and there without any hope of being released that day, or the next, or even ever. I remember Jesus praying to you to save me, to release me from this bondage, from this captivity, knowing that I'm a son of God. Anyway, later I was led out of the cell after some 3 hours of this being held in police cell. I got to know the man behind all this, a high figure in the nation's politics. It is true I fought with thoughts of hatred against him for the injustice suffered, but I got to understand his anxiety over the safety of his son. What had happened on arrival from a trip, he hadn't found his son because he kept on searching for him everywhere until he came to the center where the son was or had gone to for the first time, invited by his friends. When the father had expressed all that anger on us, abandoning us to the police, he had gone home to rest. Luckily for us, some patrons of the center paid him a quick visit to clarify matters, only for this man to learn that this same center where his son had gone to was of the same spirit, that of Opus Dei, as the private hospital where his ailing mother was being affectionately cared for. And on learning that, he got up and rectified. He himself came to the station to effect our release. I was set free. How come these people say we were never in bondage to anyone, so no need to be made free? Jesus, as a good teacher, as a good brother and friend, you remind me clearly of any bondage I have. Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not continue in the house forever. The son continues forever. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. Therefore, Jesus, you are saying, sin brings bondage. Committing sin means slavery to sin, which cuts one off from dwelling in the house forever. Unhappiness, not attaining one's goal, being frustrated forever, not dwelling in the house of the Lord. Whereas, continuing in your word, Jesus, freely out of love entails happiness, the joy and freedom of the children of God. Who doesn't want to be free? And therefore, who doesn't want to be happy? Jesus, you are saying a lot here, but I can retain the fundamental thing about your lesson on freedom. 1. The truth will make you free. 2. The Son makes you free. Thus, you will be free indeed. Actually, one can identify the truth with the Son. I have this powerful quote by St. Josemaria Scriva, where he comments on this statement of our Lord, Veritas liberabit vos. The truth will set you free. What truth is this which opens for us the way to freedom and gives it meaning throughout our lives? I will sum it up for you with the joy and certainty of creatures who have a close relationship with God. 1. Knowing that we have come from the hands of God. 2. That the Blessed Trinity looks upon us with predilection. 3. That we are children of so great a Father. I ask my Lord to help us decide to take this truth to heart, to savor it day after day. Only then will we be acting freely. Don't forget, anyone who does not realize that he is a child of God is unaware of the deepest truth about himself and lacks in his behavior the dominion and self-mastery proper to those who love the Lord above all things. On preparing for this meditation, I had asked myself, and what burden or what bondage am I in? And after a quick check, I realized the need to go for confession. And what freedom, what experience of freedom, of happiness I tasted. I don't blame that boy who, after a good confession, before leaving, remarked, I feel lighter. And it's true. That is the experience. Why don't you make up your mind to do a good confession one of these days as we approach the Easter celebrations? Another way of also embracing the truth and therefore attaining freedom that Jesus guarantees us and promises us is to accept or to even make correction to someone close to us whom we notice is derailing. We can also reconcile with someone whom perhaps we are not in good terms with by speaking up maybe even apologizing on admitting the truth that I went wrong somewhere. It's true that the interlocutors of our Lord will keep on arguing with him. We are descendants of Abraham, and we have never been in bondage. So why do you say that you will make us free? Jesus, you will go on to confront them with their sin. Inasmuch as they are sinning, they still harbor sin in their hearts. They are in bondage to sin. If you were Abraham's children, you will do what Abraham did. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has told you the truth which I heard from God. This is not what Abraham did. You do what your father did. And then they began to ask themselves, who is our father? Actually, our father is Abraham. We are not born of fornication. We have one father, even God. Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me, for I proceeded and came forth from God. I came not of my own accord, but he sent me. We see this conditionals that you put Jesus. If God were your father, therefore, as a child of God, as one free, also growing to attain the freedom of the child of God, well, it means I'm going to love you, Jesus. I'm going to remain in your word. I'm going to be truly your disciple. These days, as Lent is drawing to an end, and as we enter into these celebrations of the mysteries of our salvation, may we be determined once more. May we be resolute on following Jesus in spite of the sacrifice it entails. But Jesus tells us that embracing this truth will lead to our authentic freedom, which is our salvation. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations which you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.